All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County is now in session. The Honorable Nushin Saifi presiding. All person having business before this court come nigh, and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the investiture of the Honorable Mariano Corcilli. I'm sorry, I'll do that better as we go along. Mariano Corcilli is County Court Judge of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. We welcome all of you here who are in this room, in the overflow rooms, and out there and on a virtual YouTube channel. Please remain standing. Today we have a special treat. We have the Marine Corps Honor Guard here to present the colors.
Detail. Halt. Right. Face. Carry. Course.
And now I would like to welcome up Judge Corcilli's daughter, Lilu, who's age 12. I have no doubt one day she'll be over here wearing a robe. She's going to be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Present. Course.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Course. Ready. Two. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. Left.
And as we continue to remain standing, please welcome Judge Corcilli's friend and mentor, Attorney Karim Wahid.
I want to tell you a story. There was a man named Mark. He was raised in a violent home. He was raised to learn hate and to think that whiteness was the only image of God. In the months after September 11th, he executed 2 brown men who were working at convenience stores. Vengeance, wrath. He would later say, this is how God sought justice. A 3rd man was also shot by Mark, shot straight in the face. Somehow, miraculously, that man survived, but he lost his left eye. Mark was eventually condemned to death for these executions. And as he was, he proudly said, I would do it again because it was just, because God said so. Mark, through the injustices of his life, was filled with anger and hate. Through the actions of Mark, Reyes's life was shattered. Reyes was the man who was shot in the face but survived. Reyes was now poisoned. He wanted to know why. Why me? Why did this happen? Reyes, too, was now filled with anger and hate due to the injustice upon him. Reyes needed healing, and he went on a journey to find that. And it culminated a decade later, where he and the families of those who lost loved ones to Mark together sought to stop Mark's execution. Reyes knew through his journey that to heal himself was to forgive the man that caused the hate within him. He learned that Mark was a human, a flawed human, but a human nonetheless. Through the process that Reyes went on, Reyes had healed himself to some extent. The journey continued. Mark, in seeing Reyes' journey, in seeing that Reyes could show mercy, also found healing. On the day of the scheduled execution, Mark and Reyes finally spoke. And Reyes heard Mark say, "Brother, I was taught hate as a child. I was taught hate as an adult. I have watched your journey of forgiveness and healing. And all I can say is no matter what happens today, I love you." Mark learned to love that which he once hated through the acts of kindness and forgiveness of the person he perpetrated it upon. There are many voices of God. For sure, there's the voices of wrath, the voice of responsibility, and the voice of vengeance. But often we forget that the voices of justice that God bestows include the human traits of kindness, of compassion, of mercy, and the understanding that humans, in a godlike way, can forgive. It is important for us today to hold all of these attributes together as we seek justice for our fellow humans and understand that ultimately it is people who can save other people if they so choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Kerm. And everyone please be seated. That's you too?
Okay.
I like that. Is that your Marine training? You waited for the order to sit. I appreciate that. On this very special day, we have some very special guests who have joined us. Please stand or wave as I call your name. We have from the 3rd District Court of Appeals, our alum of the County Court and Circuit Court, Judge Bronwyn Miller. Visiting from the Northern Territories, we have Judge Lorena Mastarrigo. By Northern Territories, I mean she's coming here from the Circuit Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit in Broward. We also have visiting from even further north, 15th Circuit Court Judge Luis Delgado, Palm Beach. Representing the Coral Gables Bar Association, we have past president Paul John Scanziani. Here representing the Cuban American Bar Association, Patrick Montoya from the Board of Directors. Representing the Florida Association for Women Lawyers, Miami-Dade Chapter, we have Heather Smith. From the Miami-Dade trial lawyers, we have President Bobby Nunez. From the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, we have Alex Saiz, President, and Lauren Krasnoff, immediate past President. And I think there are a whole lot of other past presidents in here that I saw. Michelle Eslin somewhere. You all know who you are. Lots of FACDLs well represented today. From the Florida Bar Board of Governors, we have Carl Klein. In his home stretch as president of the Wilkie D. Ferguson Jr. Bar Association, we have Dwayne Robinson, president. And from the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, we have Juan Diarce, the president. And I'm sure you're all going to be texting me in a minute, and I will look at my phone in just a second while I announce our court family. Our public defender, Carlos Martinez, is here. On behalf of our state attorney, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, we have Marie Jo Toussaint. Representing regional counsel, we have Chief Sylvia Gonzalez. And here today, wearing two hats, he's here as our clerk of courts, but he's also here with some stories, I imagine, because he is an alum and friend from American University Law School of the judge. So, I didn't say his name, Juan, and colleague.
Well, I was a PD when he was a state attorney.
Oh, we got lots of stories. Our clerk of courts, Juan Fernandez Barquin. And finally, supporting our day-to-day court operations with their expertise and wisdom, our incredible administrative office of the courts, today represented by our trial court administrator, Deirdre Dunham. Keeping all the judges on the straight and narrow, our general counsel, Pat Gladson. And our incredible AV team and IT folks who keep us operating, honestly, more than ever these days, and allow this investiture to be broadcast to the world and Argentina on the YouTube channel. Thank you to them. To Eunice Sigler and Matt Bodfield, our public information officers, and my staff, Ricardo Ayala. So I know some of you have been wondering, especially today, my bailiff, my chief court specialist, Larry Chester, who is a Marine, would have loved today. Larry, unfortunately, has been out with a medical issue, but we took some pictures of the Marine Corps color guard for Larry. And I know he's, obviously, as you all know, Larry, he has had a special fondness for Mariano since he met him, I think, 10 years ago or so. So thank you all for being here. If there's anyone I missed, I'm going to check in a minute. But in the meantime, I would like to welcome up, in his home stretch as president of the Florida Bar, our very own, we're really a great successful year you've had as Florida Bar president, Roland Sanchez Medina.
And since Juan is here, also Belen grads, so just to wrap that up. May it please the court, Chief Judge Safey, all the judges here today, Mariano, all the families and friends of Mariano who are here today for this momentous occasion. It's my honor and pleasure to be here as president of the Florida Bar on behalf of the Board of Governors and the almost 114,000 members of the Florida Bar. As I mentioned to you previously, the best part of being president are the opportunities to speak at these investitures. I only have a few left, but I've enjoyed them tremendously. As I've said before, it's just a wonderful little slice of life, and I got an opportunity to meet people and make relations with people that are just fantastic, accomplished people. But in order to prepare for investiture, I typically ask the judge who's being celebrated to give me some names of friends, colleagues, lawyers, and judges who know him or her well. And in this particular case, I knew of Mariano, but not enough to bring you stories and experiences. But frankly, those are the most fun because it's kind of a complete slate, a clean slate. But the thing that I learned is, in this particular effort, was that you can't judge a book by its cover. So I did some research on Mariano, and so I learned that he was in the Marine Corps for almost 18 years, rising to the level of the position of sergeant. Kerm insists that he looked much nicer back then because with a beard he looks much, much meaner. And so you got to be careful the people that you choose for your invocations. I learned that you had multiple deployments. You were responsible for the training and livelihood of 45 Marines. And then you became a prosecutor and expanded your practice into criminal law and litigation. And I already knew you were fearless because anyone that wants to run for a countywide position in a county of almost 3 million people has to have courage. That's just an incredible effort. And maybe it's just my own implicit bias, but Marine, prosecutor, I was a little surprised by the things I've heard from so many of his friends and colleagues. And by the way, these are all confidential, so the people that said these things, I'm not gonna make any attributions. But these are quotes, Mariano. The first one is, he's a doll. Okay? Chief Judge said you're a doll, just to be clear. And these are, I feel I need to quote him because these are just incredible things that people said about Mariano. Among the most empathetic human beings I know, particularly sensitive to the least fortunate, an incredible mentor, a staunch feminist, feels a personal obligation and has a personal moral compass to help those that need it the most. Looks and treats everyone the same, the complete opposite of what you would expect. He will help others even on occasion to his detriment. A total nerd, that came from Kerm, and then you're going to want to talk to him about that later. I learned about your passion for veterans and the homeless, which obviously veterans comprise way too many. From being founder of the Veterans Bar Association to your desire to open up a veterans court. I learned you're a wonderful, doting father. I learned you're, from all accounts, the first American of Argentinian descent to rise to the bench in Miami-Dade County. I apologize for the informality, but my man, my brother, I'm Judge, those are just some beautiful things people said about you, man. And so this is obviously an incredible achievement, but just hearing of these things, you've already achieved success in life. Congratulations. You're loved and admired by so many people. Your leadership skills are special. I really hope to become better friends, and I need to apologize for my implicit bias in thinking that you were a different kind of man. You continue to make your friends and family very, very proud. Thank you for bestowing me the honor and distinction of speaking here today. Godspeed and congratulations, Mariano.
So to be clear, I called him a doll, but back here it sounded like he said dog. And I looked at Mariano and I'm like, that was doll, not dog. Then I got nervous. I'm like, is everyone else thinking I called you? I didn't call you a dog, I called you a doll. Thank you, Rolly, for that. All right. We also have today, representing the Coral Gables Bar Association, President Papa Manrara. There he is. And now for remarks on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar, also rounding out her very incredibly successful year, President Sharice Morgan.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to my esteemed judges, family, and friends. Judge Delgado, it's a pleasure to have you down in my city, and me instead of having to always come up north. I'm always welcome up north. Yeah, 2 hours in traffic. Thank you for coming down. Everyone, good morning. Like she said, my name is Sharice Morgan. I'm president of the Miami-Dade Bar, and I have the distinct pleasure of providing some words on behalf of our love, our friend, our brother, Judge Mariano Corcilli. I first met Judge Corcilli in 2023 at a Miami-Dade Bar event that was for state attorneys and public defenders. As you know, if you've ever spoken with Judge Corcilli for more than about 2 minutes, he's a Marine veteran, and damn proud of it, as is Judge Delgado. So within those first 2 and 3 minutes, hearing his passion that he spoke about with veterans and his service, I immediately knew that I wanted him to be chair or co-chair of my Veterans Affairs Committee. I had about a year until I was sworn in to begin my presidency. I stayed in touch with him, silently, quietly cultivating him to be my co-chair. And would you believe that he up and was elected to the bench? Judges cannot serve as chairs of committees in voluntary bar associations. So I begrudgingly wished him well along his way and I said to him, I understand, I didn't, and that I would continue to be his friend throughout his service, which I have. You've heard and you will hear again about his military service because, again, he's so proud of it. But did you know that he started the first Veterans Bar Association at UF? I thought that was incredible, and that he's been published for his writings on Marine service and veteran affairs. This is more than a man who just believes that service is the right thing to do. This is a man who does it every day when no one's looking, and thinks so highly of it that, again, he writes about it and faces the condemnation and criticism that comes with being published. So whether you met our dear friend through his military service, his service on the bench, or coincidentally saw his insatiable appetite for Parisian croissants, we can all confidently say that you are a valued and significant contribution to the bench, Judge Corcilli. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a service, both on the bench, to the bar, and in your military service, and we are incredibly grateful to have you. As is custom, the bar always presents a signature Bible to the judge that's being sworn in, well wishes therein, and your signature Miami-Dade Bar pen, which you cannot lose. Thank you.
Now, Judge Corcilli, the moment you've been waiting for. The presentation of the swag. I don't have your desk plaque up here, and I know that that's like sacrilege because we all really waited for that desk plaque. I think it must be back in the office, but we will make sure you get your desk plaque from the Conference of County Court Judges. You also from the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, Juan Diarce is here, and you got a beautiful plaque from them. From the Florida Association of Women Lawyers, you have this, which I know could also potentially be a weapon, but it is a beautiful, a beautiful statue for your office. And here to present some more swag, we have Cuban American Bar Association board member and friend and flamenco dancer, I'm going to throw out there too, Patrick Montoya. You can go down there.
There will be no dancing presentation. This is not Chicago, the dancing lawyer. Before I get to your swag, wait, I've got like a minute and 45 seconds, so I do have something to say. I've known Mariano for over 10 years. We were opposite sides of a case when we met. We later became colleagues and worked on cases together. I watched him learn civil and just realized how brilliant that he was as a lawyer. But I want to echo what you heard about service from Sharice earlier. Some of you may know my godfather and mentors is George Knox, first African-American city attorney in Miami, first African-Americans that graduated from the University of Miami Law School. And he found this quote inside his mother's Bible. His mother was an educator in Jacksonville at a time of really high, obvious segregation and separation. And I want you to hear this passage because I think it personifies Mariano and what you're going to hear for the rest of the day. In her Bible, and this was a speech that she gave at the Jacksonville Baptist Church in 1953, she said, "In the final analysis, it will not matter whether our name has been broadcast all over the world as a reward for some great invention. It will not matter whether we have been crowned with the laurels of worldly fame. It will not matter whether we have spoken to thousands from brilliantly lighted rostrums. But what will matter is whether you and I can face our God and say with truth, in the spirit of selfless service, I have kept thy laws, and I have held fast to my vision of heaven, that I may become a worthy citizen of the kingdom of God." Mariano personifies selfless service, from the military service to the continuing service to the veterans, to watching him today in the court in the divisions that he is running, the homeless division and those that are in jail, the jail division. And I say to my colleagues and the judges here, My judgment of a judge is how he or she handles pro se plaintiffs and those who are unrepresented. It's a special skill. It's a talent. Mario handles that with great dignity and a great sense of humor and a great care and compassion while also respecting and following the law. And so I will leave you with this because the quote, I believe, this is from Cava, from the plaque is apt. It's from Jose Marti. It says, "I want the first law of the land to be full dignity for all men." If you watch Mariano and his divisions and the populations that he's dealing with in his division, he has given those folks dignity. So from the bottom of our hearts at Cava, thank you, and we're happy to have you on the bench, Mariano.
And Miami-Dade Trial Lawyers Association, President Bobby Nunez.
May it please the court. It's always funny because I feel awkward. You're not supposed to give your back to the jurors, juror box, or the judges. I don't know where to put myself, so forgive me. So if I understand this correctly, you became a Marine, you obtained the rank of sergeant, and then for some reason you decided to get the extra title of Esquire. What's interesting to me mostly about that is Marines have many names. We've all heard them. But I'm going to guess your honor is not usually one of them. But you've gone ahead and obtained that. And while I'm confident many people are familiar with those names, one that's probably my favorite of having known you and other Marines is something a Marine never wants to hear. They never want to hear ex-Marine. It's actually insulting, to say the least. That mentality of once a Marine, always a Marine, is what I can see you keeping as you embark on this new journey as a judge. You took an oath as an Esquire to seek justice and always seeking the truth. It's no secret, it's what we labor here to do. It's above all of the judges in Miami-Dade County, very concisely stated. And I am confident that your new oath today will consist of that same level of commitment and dedication to your new role as Semper Fidelis, as to the rule of law. Upon approval of the Lance Corporal Underground, and also on behalf of the Miami-Dade Trial Lawyers, I present you this gavel in commemorating today and showing of appreciation. Thank you.
One more. And FACDL President Alex Saiz.
So, I promised I'd keep this brief, or at least brief for one of my speeches. In a few moments, you're going to take...
What does that mean?
I'm going to get everyone out of here in less than an hour, I promise. In a few moments, you're going to take an oath to support, protect, and defend the Constitution. Obviously, that's not going to be the first time you've taken an oath to support, protect, and defend. When you did volunteer pro bono work for veterans, you supported, you protected, you defended them. When you were volunteering with the homeless, you supported, you protected, you defended them. With your clients that you represented in court, you supported, you protected, you defended them. And obviously, when you enlisted in the Marine Corps, all of us, this entire country, you supported, you protected, you defended. On behalf of the Miami chapter of the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, I would like to present this to my friend, to my colleague, and to my fellow American University alum, Mariano Corcilli.
And now for personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please give a warm welcome to the judge's former trial partner, fellow Marine, and friend, 15th Circuit Court Judge Luis Delgado.
Good afternoon, everybody. Madam Chief, Judge, colleagues, friends. So I want to give you a little background as to why everybody keeps talking about the Marine Corps. Like my friend, I also was enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. And there's a saying that the Army has its tanks, the Navy has its ships, the Air Force has its jets, but the Marine Corps has its legend. As Marines, our history, our tradition, it's important to us. It holds us accountable to generations past. It's a commitment to success. It's a legacy that we're responsible to preserve and pass on to future generations. For example, we're very proud of the fact that our Marine Corps is 250 years old. But this 4th of July, the United States will celebrate 249 years. It's a Corps of Marines that is older than the republic it serves. If you think about it, it makes sense. Your United States military had to fight the Revolutionary War. Our motto is in Latin. It means semper fidelis, always faithful. Always faithful. Yes, to the United States of America, but also to each other. And here's what I mean. And so with rank, you would think comes its privileges. And yes, that may be true. But the higher rank you achieve in the Marine Corps, the more responsibility you have for younger Marines. It's not a boss to be the boss kind of mentality. It's more of a you lead by example, or a big brother. Did you know that junior Marines, they get to eat, they get to rest, and they get benefits before senior Marines? That means the most senior general won't take a bite of food until the lowliest private has finished his meal. This is how you ensure that the people that need to do the hard work have what they need to do. The Marine Corps builds very tough men, but it forges incredible leadership. And anywhere that America has engaged in ferocious battles, you've seen the United States Marines. So in World War II, they were engaged in this island hopping campaign in the Pacific on their way towards Japan. And you're familiar with it, I promise. I think everybody has seen the flag raising at Mount Suribachi. It looks like this. This is our war memorial. And this is where our story starts. Not literally, but figuratively. See, Judge Corcilli came to the state attorney's office in Palm Beach County with this very loud, booming voice. And so naturally, they assigned him to the other Marine in the office. And they could not have been more right. Two Marines that have never met before can talk for hours and hours and hours. And so we hit it off right away. Now, we were young prosecutors, which meant that we couldn't afford anything, and if we were going to splurge, maybe that meant a peanut butter and jelly with extra jelly. But on Sundays, I would invite my friend over to my parents' house, and they would cook up something really big, and it was free. But also, they had HBO. And at the time, they were running this miniseries called The Pacific about this island hopping campaign. And he and I were glued to the television. And we're watching this, these incredible stories of brave men who are doing very difficult things without quitting. And we would talk about how those guys were the absolute best of us. They represented our core values, our commitment to mission accomplishment and excellence. Those are some of my favorite times. Well, my buddy became my trial partner. And they were just misdemeanor jury trials, but to me, I thought we were the dream team. I mean, he has this voice that's so incredible. and it just fills the room. It's actually really, it's wonderful to see. I think it was impossible for juries to ignore him. And my favorite story to tell is about his first jury trial as a lead. And he'd shadowed me long enough. I think he'd been at the office for maybe a week or two max. And I thought, it's time to take the training wheels off. So I let him conduct jury selection. Now, your clerk was a PD in Palm Beach County. He'll tell you that Palm Beach County, you get 30 minutes for jury selection. It's pretty much a hard stop. And Mariano gets up there, starts conducting his jury selection, and about 9 minutes in, he sits down. He doesn't consult me, he doesn't talk to me, he just sits down. And I've got this look on my face, like this guy just left 20 minutes on the board. And he shrugs over, in a very Mariano kind of way, he goes, "So how'd I do?" And I'm mortified. So I just looked at him, I said, "That is the worst job I have ever seen." He won that trial. As a matter of fact, I'm absolutely certain it's happened, but I've never seen him lose at anything. Now, I can tell you that my buddy and I were not wired the same. We have different personalities. We have different worldviews. But being friends is knowing that he's a good person and that I love him dearly, and vice versa. And it's why whenever we get together, we have the kind of conversation that you can only have with people that you're very close to, people that you're very comfortable with. And so last time we had dinner was at New Judge College. And we talked for hours, like a bunch of old Marines sitting down and catching up. And somehow, we got to the parable of the prodigal son. It's a parable in our Christian Gospels. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but if you're not, it's the story of a son from a wealthy family who wants his inheritance early, and that would have been very offensive at the time. But he gets it, and he squanders it fast. On wine, women, and song, he becomes impoverished, and it gets so bad that this son of a very rich man now becomes a servant, and he's got to tend to livestock. And in ancient Israel, it would have been very, very bad because you can tell that he falls so hard. He's so poor that one day he catches himself eating out of the pig trough. And as bad as it is, he thinks, maybe I should go back home. Swallows his pride. He knows it's going to hurt. And when he gets there, his dad starts jumping up and down. They throw him a party with the best of the best. And his older brother is really kind of upset about it. His older brother had done everything right and thought, why are we doing this? And his dad says, you don't understand. Up until the moment he came back, I thought he was dead. And now it's as if he's come back from the dead. Well, I tell you this because some of the stories that you've heard about my friend's empathy and compassion are true. I learned that he was assigned to specialty courts and to the county court criminal division, and that his heart is set on a county court veterans court for county court. And I hope that happens for you, buddy. And I know he's always going to do right. But in a world where you have guys like me that might have more of a real tough approach to life, it's nice to know that there are people like my dear friend who will look at some of these people who maybe are veterans or professionals who were highly respected or are highly respected and they've fallen. And where I might take a different approach, he will look me straight in the face and tell me, you don't understand. That they may have fallen, but right now, it's as if they're coming back from the dead. And that's something to celebrate. And when you talk to him, I think that empathy and that compassion is so incredibly contagious. It causes people to really think about what they're feeling, I find it incredibly humbling. I don't know if it's his personality or the voice. Maybe I just can't ignore him when he speaks. But it does resonate. It's nice to know that after speaking to him, you remember that in this world, there's always room for a little more grace. Anyway, so this, my buddy, my friend, this is my gift to you. This is to remind you that you are one of the best of us. This is to remind you the people of Miami are very blessed to have you. Good luck, my friend.
And we got your plaque. I know, we were all nervous. Now for further personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please welcome the judge's mentor, co-counsel, and friend, Attorney Carmen Vizcaino.
I didn't bring you any presents. As a matter of fact, I think you owe me money. Chief Judge, Your Honors, colleagues, friends, familia, good afternoon. For those who don't know me, my name is Carmen Vizcaino. I have been a criminal defense practitioner in this community for over 25 years, and for probably over 15 of those years, I have been dear friends with Mariano. We met at the cafe on the first floor of Reg, which is the criminal courthouse for those of you who don't call it home. And we were introduced by a mutual friend, I believe it was Michelle Esland who's here today. And Mariano was dressed very dapper in a perfectly fitted suit, except he was wearing Adidas sneakers. And I said to him, what's up with the Adidas sneakers? Remember, this was 15 years ago, pre-COVID world. And he explained that he had suffered a foot injury and he had to wear sneakers, which of course I gave him grief about. It was ruining his look, and it became our thing. And for years, I would give him grief about his inappropriate shoes and how it just ruined the way he looked. And as karma would have it, several years later, I suffer a foot injury. And as all the judges who I've practiced in front of know, for over the past 10 years, I've only worn sneakers to court. Now, I will say this, one of us was injured jumping out of helicopters. The other one was injured spending way too many hours standing in 4-inch stilettos in court. But you will be glad to know I no longer jump out of helicopters. As I was putting this speech together, I was going through all the memories that Mariano and our friends have accumulated, funny, warm memories throughout the years, and realized I can't talk about any of them here. So I then contacted quite a few of his Marine friends, and they gave me such a great book of hilarious stories, none of which I can talk about here. I do have 2 stories that are greatly edited that really encompass for me basically who Mariano is. So let's start with the first one, Carla Guevara. She was a Marine, and just prior to Sergeant Corcilli coming into her unit, she had given birth to twins. Now, I can think of nothing more badass than a female Marine pumping milk to feed her newborn babies, right? Now, not everyone agrees with me, and this was 25 years ago. Sergeant Corcilli came in, and she said once he came in as her supervisor, he supported her, he had her back, and he never,
made her feel like the lesser. Carla, 2 kids, also had some medical issues, and they needed medical care. Previous supervisors had not altered her schedule to allow her to get the medical care for her children. Sergeant Corcilli said, once he found out about it, well, no one's told me, I can't tell you no, and allowed her to go get the medical care for her children. He knew, Sergeant Corcilli knew that there would be repercussions, that there would be consequences, but he believed it was the right thing to do, and he did it anyways. And there were consequences. He was reprimanded, and he was threatened with a court-martial. I'm not even sure if Carla even knew that. He never said it. But as karma would have it, the officers above him put the kibosh on the court-martial and ultimately gave him a medal for his leadership. Let me tell you about Isaac Sandoval. Isaac Sandoval is another Marine. He was roommates with Mariano, and they remained friends years later. This is the best story. And such good friends that when Isaac was moving, he called Mariano to help him move, and Mariano flew across the country to California to help his friend move. When he arrives, Isaac is still getting the stuff together to move, and and Mariano decides to go do some sightseeing. When Isaac's ready to pick him up, pulls the truck up, Mariano's jumping in, and he has a hot dog in his hand. And he says, "What's up with the hot dog?" Mariano says, "Man, I bought 2 hot dogs. One was for you and one was for me, but I ran across this homeless man. And he seemed so hungry. He was very hungry. And I gave him your hot dog." This spawned a decades-long debate that I am now pulled into as to whether or not it is a good deed to help someone by giving them someone else's food. I don't think it counts. Who agrees with me? Doesn't count. As karma would have it, Mariano ate his hot dog and got the worst food poisoning ever. Spent 3 days on the floor of the bathroom. Karma has also been good to Mariano. Somehow, he met Kefi, beautiful, strong, brilliant Kefi, and convinced her to marry him. You good, girl? Okay. Along with Kefi came Lilu, precocious, tiny little warrior. Mariano stepped into the role of her father, the most important role, more important than being a Marine, a judge, a lawyer. Lilu's father just stepped into it as it was the most natural thing for him to do. And I have watched him through the years unfold and become such an amazing father. Karma also played her hand in the assignments once Mariano became a judge. Jail division, my old haunts, actually in the same courtroom that Kerm and I became trial partners in. Mental health court, homeless court. I can think of no other person who would be better to administer justice and care for the most vulnerable people in our community. With that, I don't have a gift, but I will say this. Judge Corcilli, may it please the court. She's never said. I congratulate you on this special day. May your moral compass never waver. And finally, Grande Argentina. Thank you.
now for the oath of office and robing, I would like to ask Judge Delgado to please join Judge Corcilli and his wife Kefi and daughter Lilu for the oath. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mariano Ariel Corcilli,
I, Mariano Ariel Corcilli,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am qualified to hold office
that I am qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of judge of the county court
the duties of judge of the county court
of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida,
of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Judge. My turn. I wish my dad was here. Thank you all for coming to share this moment with me. This might very well be the first time that I have family, work friends, and Marine Corps friends all in one room. I'm probably gonna cry a little bit. I've had some friends over the years that ran for judge, so I was prepared for a long and difficult campaign. Every day I would stare off into the void and challenge my opponent to reveal himself. Luckily, it never happened. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank everyone in this room, everyone in the building, and every person in Miami-Dade County for not running against me. And I want to express love, respect, and gratitude for the Marines that I served with, that I trained with, that I cleaned the barracks with, and that I deployed with. Several of my Marine buddies are here today. Isaac, Danny, Alvaro, I love you. Thank you for standing next to me during the darkest times. And whenever trouble found us, as it sometimes does when you're a young enlisted Marine, never once did I have to do it alone. So thank you. I'm truly blessed to have these guys in my life. I am blessed for the experiences that we all shared, including the time during some pre-deployment training in North Carolina when I sustained a bit of a head injury and was knocked unconscious. And Isaac, I wake up a little while later with Isaac on top of me, slapping my face and yelling for me to get up. That is not proper concussion protocol. Thank you for that, and thank you for so many other things. So eight years I served in the Marines. I was stationed on both coasts. I lived in the snow, in the desert, in the forest, and in the ocean. And because of my deployments, I got to see the world. And I spent some of that time as a sergeant. And it was the honor of a lifetime to lead and to train Marines. And the Corps spends a lot of time training people to become good leaders. And I was lucky enough that in almost every place I went, I had great leaders. Almost every place. The hardest challenges for a leader comes when someone up the food chain makes decisions that neglect the good order, discipline, and welfare of the young Marines.
And that's why they invented sergeants. The existential challenge that faced us, that faces sergeants all the time, when someone makes a decision that negatively affects the morale, is do you go along with the senior Marine, do what's best for your career, do what's best to make your life easy, to the detriment of the young Marines that you swore to lead? Or do you defend your Marines, do the thing you think sergeants should do, even at the risk of your own career? The answer is always B. 20 years later, the thing I'm most proud of is not that I was the fastest Marine or the strongest Marine. I was not. It was that as a sergeant, if anybody wanted to mess with my Marines, they had to get through me, and it wasn't going to happen. So to the prosecutors and public defenders in my courtroom, do the thing that you think is the right thing to do, even if it makes other people mad. The temporary inconvenience of annoying a judge or a supervisor is nothing compared to the regret of missing an opportunity to stand up, do the right thing, and defend justice. It is what we do. It is why these buildings were created in the first place. Eventually, I transitioned into civilian life, and for many veterans, that transition could be a hard one, and it was for me. I got out of the Corps, I went to Gainesville to go to college, go Gators. Go Gators. And immediately I sensed that loss of camaraderie that I had become accustomed to. And that void was filled by an unlikely bunch. I took a job at a veterans office that was already staffed by 3 U.S. Rangers. For the uninitiated, Army Rangers are elite warriors, and it is not uncommon for Marines and Army folks to not get along. These 3 Rangers, they served together, they went to war together, they fought together, they got out and went to school together. All 3 were best friends, and all 3 hated me. I did my best to de-escalate the situation and find common ground, so I wore my Marine Corps shirt every day and said "Oorah" after every sentence. It took a little bit of time, but we became friends. Jake, dude, I love you. You, Jesse, Joey, you took me in, you adopted me. Thank you. Rangers truly lead the way. Hoorah. Eventually, I became a lawyer. My first job as a prosecutor in Palm Beach, and I made a bunch of great friends. We helped each other with cases. We helped each other with life. We helped each other get by. To Judge Luis Delgado, to Noah, LaWanda, Melissa, Laura, Stephanie, Catherine, Lindsay, Danny, and Casey, Professor Casey. Thank you for your friendship. And to Polly, Deborah, and Lorraine, thank you for your leadership and your occasional grace and mercy. And as years went by, there were more folks that came into my life that also developed me into the lawyer I am. Onir Yopi, Stephen Hunter Johnson, Stephanie Peterman, Vanessa Bravo, and Roy Wasson. Thank you for your friendship and your mentorship. Thank you, David Edelstein, for hiring me and exposing me to the world of criminal defense. You had me at REG every day, and when I opened my own firm, you gifted me with a client, a paying client. Thank you. And thank you, Stephen Rosenfarb, my friend from high school and my former law partner. Thank you for sharing that tiny office with me many years ago. Thank you for teaching me personal injury. And in the 10 years we worked together, I loved every bit of it. Thank you for always trusting me. And if I had one superpower, it would be befriending high-achieving, troublemaking trial attorneys. It is a point of personal pride that I count the following mentors as my friends: Karam Wahid, Carmen Vizcaíno, Michelle Eslin, Sherry Romano, Brian Curlew, Matt Myers, David Geller, Pat Montoya, and Janet Tacoronte. You have each contributed to my development as a lawyer. You've helped me become a judge, and you are each relentless in what it is that you do, and you have my love and my respect. And I want to show love to my mom and dad. No llores todavía, no llores. I'm not even there yet. They gave me life. They brought me to this country. They molded me, provided for me, and taught me the intangible fundamentals that allowed me to go out into the world and live the life that I wanted to live. My dad, Vicente Mario Corcilli, was my first friend. My entire life, I wanted to make him proud. And he never missed an opportunity to tell me that he was. He was my guy. He's no longer with us. But he stuck around long enough to see me become a lawyer and to meet my wife and kid. Everything else is details. And so my mom, Liliana Noemi Leones Corcilli, she was my first hero. She taught me the true meaning of hard work, discipline, and responsibility. She ran our home with strength and grace, making sure we had everything we needed, even when it wasn't easy. Her love was constant, her sacrifices countless, and her impact immeasurable. I'm forever grateful. I love you more than words can say. Mamá, gracias por siempre dándome apoyo. And now in our mother tongue, sei una mamma bellissima. Che tu posso essere sempre felice. Now, things don't always go as planned, and my parents split up. And a few years later, I'm on a deployment, and I get 2 emails. One email from my mom saying she's seeing some guy named Orlando. And one email from a guy named Orlando. I was 20 years old, I was an only child, and I wasn't trying to hear that. Now, his email to me was very kind. And my email to him was also very kind. Except for the part where I threatened him violence if he made my mom sad. Sorry about that. Orlando was the best thing that happened to our family. He was with my mom during those years when I was gone. He befriended my dad. And when my dad was sick, he helped him. He invited my dad into his home. And whether it was Christmas dinner or Tuesday dinner, I got to spend time with all my parents. Gracias. And his daughter, my stepsister, is a West Point graduate, and I just made her cry, so 5 points for me. To my beautiful, loving, wonderful, smart, independent, never been in trouble, always respectful daughter, Lilu Ofelia Corcilli. Am I under oath? Am I under oath? Mi hija, being your dad has changed my life. There are so many things I want to teach you. Tell you how to swim, how to ride a bike, how to climb a tree, how to climb into the Jeep. I taught you how to watch soccer, how to play soccer, and how to properly curse out the referees in Spanish when we watch Argentina play. Something the abuelas did not like at all. Now, it's okay, here's the thing. She is a little mad at me right now. She asked us recently if she can spend some time this summer with her abuelas. Solid request. It was a good request. But unfortunately, we had made plans already. We rented a log cabin in the forest of West Virginia with no power, no internet, no social media, no Netflix, no TV, and we're only eating what we catch. I thought a 12-year-old girl would love that. Well, mamita, there's been a small change of plans. You see, we were blessed recently with some new babies in the family. So in 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, we're gonna go to Spain so you can meet your new cousins. It's okay, you can do it. Lilu, your well-developed sense of justice, your righteous indignation will serve you well when it is your turn and your generation's turn to go out into the world and make your mark. You can do it. And I love you, Padawan. And to my super awesome wife, Kefi Alejandra Corcilli, mi amor, te quiero con todo. Sos la luz de mi vida, sos la estrella en el cielo, y me vuelve loco tu forma de ser. Kefi and I met in high school. A mutual friend informed us that we share the same birthday. I thought, man, this chick is cool, she's beautiful, she's funny, this girl is awesome. And she thought, oh, this dude has the same birthday I do. Thank you for always being a great friend, a supportive partner, and an amazing mother to our daughter. You have added peace, joy, and love into my life, and I will continue every day to strive to be worthy of you. Gracias, mi vida. Earlier this week, we celebrated Memorial Day. It's a good day for shopping and maybe a barbecue. But for some, it's just another reminder that not everyone that joins the military gets to go home. Some were people we knew, some were people we loved. May God bestow grace and mercy on their souls. May God provide comfort for their families and loved ones. May God fill us all with courage, all of us with courage, so that we may defend and protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And may God bless the United States of America. Semper Fi.
Did you call her Padawan?
Yes.
Did all you Star Wars fans out there catch that he called his daughter Padawan? Yes. Okay, so.
I told you he was a nerd.
So congratulations, Judge Corcilli. So I had the opportunity to meet you, I guess about 10 years ago or so, when we were, I was one of the founders of the Felony Veterans Court, and Mariano came on early on as a supporter, bringing obviously his background and his enthusiasm. And similarly, right, you're hearing Marine, and I was used to Larry, and Larry is as badassy as a Marine can get, and yet it's I'm sorry, I just said ass in court. But also, like Mariano, one of the just squishiest human beings I've ever met in my life, just full of just heart and empathy. And I think I felt that when I met you early on. And then periodically he'd come by, and this is, I think most of my visits with you back then were before you were running.
Correct.
So one day he comes by, and I don't know what happens. I say, hi, how are you? Next thing I know, you're telling me about your, I think it was your grad school or your college thesis.
Yeah.
He wrote a thesis on the GI Bill, and I know you're like, fascinating. So I sat there for like 45 minutes getting educated on the GI Bill, and I literally tell the story all the time, probably some of my colleagues. You know, Mariano did his thesis on the GI Bill, and I literally pass that information on as if it's my own, but it was not just in education, but I was really, if you had told me ahead of time that someone's gonna come by and talk to me about the GI Bill, I'd have been like, oh, let me find something to do. But it was, made it incredibly interesting, and again, what came through was his heart, in addition to being, you know, a good lawyer and a good Marine, just your heart. Another time you came by, he brought Lilo to visit. I think it was on Bring Your Kid to Work Day. But this was like 3 years ago. I think she was 9. She comes in with a pad of paper and like, Bring Your Kid to Work Day. No offense to everyone who's got a kid. Not all kids are created equal. I say that as a mother of 3, all right? When she came in, I was blown away. She comes in looking perfect and sits down, and she interviews me with a legal pad. And I looked at Mariano, and I'm like, boy, this kid's going to be on the Supreme Court one day, not knowing that soon thereafter you were going to be running. Then this is the bit that I really want to share with you all, because I thought it was going to come out at some point. All your skill set and something about you liking the donuts, and that's great. He is an expert leather maker. Is that what it's called? Leather worker? Yeah, see, everyone out there knows. Last time, a couple times ago, he comes to see me, and I don't even know how it came up, and he gifts me with this little business card holder that looks like it came out of like Gucci or somewhere, and it's made by Mariano. So I'm like, what are you doing this judge thing for? Let's open up an Etsy shop, you know, and really, really impressive. So with that, I want to say on behalf of everyone here, welcome to the bench, on behalf of all your colleagues, on behalf of all of us here in the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Court is now in recess. If you'd like to greet the judge and his family, please come forward and go to your right. And
Thank you.
Right. Here. One quick picture here. And then go for the judicial selfie. No. Stay here. All right. And then these guys are going to want to selfie with you. Thank you.